the block, straight off the block. Straight off the block, straight off the block. Straight off the block, straight off the block. Black leadership, open council. Straight off the block.
Hi, my name is Kim Whitfield, also known as the Mindset Shifter, and I am the owner of Emerging Professional Solutions.
Hello. I'm excited to be here. I don't know about y'all. This is something that I truly enjoy educating on and talking about because I don't know about anybody in the room, but I know the background that I came from. In that background, this was never discussed. And just so you know who I am before I get started, prior military Air Force veteran, did 13 years in the military, and got out and became a government contractor. But I came from Shreveport, Louisiana, and if you know anything about Louisiana, it's not the greatest school system sometimes, and the neighborhoods are just equally as bad. And that was the neighborhood in the background that I came up in. So I went into the military to get out of that situation. Growing up the way that I did, again, this stuff wasn't taught to me, so I didn't know it, even having a great job, even with becoming a government contractor afterwards. Did life, got married, life happened, got divorced. And it dawned on me when I got divorced that this subject here was killing me. And when I was going through it, I needed to make sure that I put myself in a better position to get out of it and to make sure that my son never goes through it. And then I realized, well, Kim, you can't just keep it to your circle, you need to talk to everybody. So that's how I got into this industry of financial management, financial services. So I'm glad, I appreciate Ken for bringing me out. We've been friends for, just realized, 25 plus years. But he's been following me for a while, and so I appreciate you allowing me to come in and talk to your circle as well. So, as you see, it says we're going to build your financial foundation, and you versus debt. It's time for us to take charge because there are 4 things that a lot of us in this country are really dealing with that kind of take up our money. Taxes is one. That's a whole different conversation. Inflation is another one. But debt in general is one of the things that eats up our money. And sometimes we don't even realize how quickly it happens. So I'm going to start, before we get into the debt, we got to figure out how we get there first, okay? I'm a very interactive person, so I may ask y'all sometimes to give me a situation or whatever, but I will be conscious of our time because I know it's a Saturday as well. So, but before we get into that, I want to talk about the facts. Maybe. 64% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. And only 39% could cover an unexpected expense of $1,000. That's crazy that we live in the wealthiest country in the world and 64% of us are living paycheck to paycheck. And that goes back to the things that I was telling you that's taking our money. Taxes, debt, inflation, and big business is the other one. 43 million Americans have credit scores of 599 or below. Why is that important? Because of the credit score of 599 means you have the highest interest rates if you get approved to begin with. Again, that's what's eating up your money. 57% of U.S. adults are financially unhealthy. I was a part of that 57%. And it's crazy, you think sometimes it's about your income, it's not. Because when I was married, we were bringing in $300,000+ a year. But we were still living paycheck to paycheck. Now that sounds crazy. It is. It's stupid what it is. Because a lot of times we think we have an income problem, really it's the cash flow problem that we have. Do y'all understand the difference between cash flow and income? Y'all can see? Okay. So income is how much money that you make, right? The cash flow is how long it stays with you. So I'll break it down in a simpler term. Let's just say the average income right now is $60,000 a year, right? So if I'm bringing in $60,000 a year, that's great income, but my expenses are $120,000. That means my paycheck is only going to last me 6 months. Versus I make $6,000 a year, but my expenses are only $30,000. So I can make the same amount of money, but it's the debt that I begin and the interest that's killing us. Yes, no, maybe so. So you got to stand on the side. She did tell me that the thing is back here. 66% of Americans can't pass a basic financial literacy test, which is why I commend Ken and this group for putting this on, because our community is majority of that 66%. So this is important for all of us. And then what you find here today is not just about you. When you leave here, go tell somebody else the information that you learned. Find more information to make sure that you are putting yourself in a better position. So that's what to empower you with knowledge about debt management, credit, and interest. And then I know Mr. Charles and Mr. Kevin come behind us and get even more in-depth information, but I just want to make sure that we have the basic part before we move any further. Because sometimes it's just the little things that can make a difference in how our dollar lasts and how much more we can do this year. Y'all have any questions for me so far? Okay. So when we start talking about understanding debt, there are two types of debt. There's good debt and there's bad debt. What do y'all think good debt is? Anybody? Mortgage, I'm sorry? Car note. And it's funny you say car note because it could be good and it could be bad. And I'll go over how that can happen in just a second. But the definition of debt is money owed to another party. So a good debt basically is something that you invest in for your future or generates income. There are things that you can buy that may cost you a little bit to do it. But if it's generating income at the end, it's good debt. Examples, somebody said mortgage over here. Student loans, that's controversial as well because some people have student loans and it affects them in a bad way. But when you start talking about it, the reason why you're doing student loans, and you actually paying back on time and not hit with the penalties and it affects your credit score, which is something that's happening right now, they are now reporting credit to the credit bureaus, which means people's credit scores are going down. But it is putting you to the point to where you're going to have a career advancement. It's still a good investment. Business loans. Again, if you're able to generate income from it, it's a good debt as long as it's a good investment in the business. Repayment is manageable and leads to future benefit. That's the key thing when you start talking about good debt. But bad debt is finances, depreciating assets, or everyday consumption. Credit card debt, high interest. That is one thing, especially if it's high interest and you're not paying it back. Consider it bad debt. Examples: credit card, payday loans, car loans. Now, that's why I said car loans could be bad because they're depreciating most of the times, right? But we're in an industry now where people are using cars to generate income with Turo. People are doing different things with cars to where DoorDash, Uber Eats, Uber. So it's a different playing field now. So, but you just have to be conscious of how you're using it. So the key to take away with this, the bad debt is high interest often for non-essential items hindering your financial progress. That's the biggest thing to take away. So the common types of debt that we have, yes, no, maybe so. There we go. So the key is for me standing right here and changing. Credit card debt, revolving debt, high interest, those are easy to accumulate. And I'm gonna go over, y'all have some sheets in front of you that says the bloody mess. I'm gonna go over that in a minute because I want you to understand having a credit card is not a bad thing if you use it correctly. But a lot of times we see these numbers on there and we don't really know what that means and really how long it's gonna take us to get out of it. So I'm gonna do an exercise with y'all just so y'all can see the impact of it. Personal loans. Fixed payments can be secured or unsecured. So maybe snap the slide. Auto loans secured by a vehicle, which are usually fixed payments. But sometimes, if your credit is not good, that loan is going to be high as all it goes. And you already put yourself in a position to where you're already upside down in the vehicle, and sometimes it becomes unmanageable as well. And then student loans. Mortgages are also a different type of debt. They can be secured by real estate, typically long-term loans. Now, again, you You have those people who are very savvy, get into real estate investments, they are able to use the houses to generate more income, so. But here's something that, I don't think people really take into consideration when they're getting the credit cards, getting the loans, the impact that they really have in your life. I don't know about anybody else in here, but there have been nights that when I was going through my divorce, that it kept me up because I didn't know how I was gonna pay the bill. So it causes anxiety, it causes stress, which is one of the number one killers. Stress can kill you. You don't want to die because you're stressed out behind your bills. That's not living, and that we got to get to the point where now we are living and not just surviving. Debt can limit your opportunities, qualifying for mortgages. As a government contractor, I am a program manager and I'm a hiring manager as well. Well, I could have the best candidate in the world, but when we run the background check and they have a credit score because they didn't pay bills because of the work that we do, I can't hire them. So it can stop you from being able to get certain jobs. It can stop you from being able to rent apartments and getting cars. So those things, again, can cause a lot of stress. It eats away at your ability to invest, which I know we'll talk about later as well. But the money that you're paying to the banks, which is something that we'll go up with Rule 72, you can see how the difference in the interest that is coming to you versus the bank, how it can affect you as well. One of the most direct consequences is lower credit score, which in turn makes future borrowing more difficult and more expensive. Managing your debt isn't just about numbers, it's about protecting your peace and creating your financial freedom at the same time. When I tell you, I have seen and talked to a lot of people because I help people with credit restoration as well, the nights that they have lost and hair falling out because they don't know how they're going to make ends meet, it can really affect your life and your health at the same time. So, y'all take heed to this. It may not be you. I don't know about in this room. I'm just telling you what has happened to me and people that I've helped. Okay? So some strategies for debt management. Budgeting. That is the foundation, tracking your income expenses. But I will tell you, budgeting alone is not going to make you look good. That's just, it helps save your money some and allows you to do different things with it, but it will not make you look. I don't like this. Because I'm trying to say his camera at the same time. The snowball method, this is a method where you can use paying off your smallest debt first and then roll those payments into the next payment. So it's once, and now I'll send something to you after this as well, to where you can actually start accounting for your debt. Because sometimes we don't actually look at the numbers. We just pay bills without realizing how many credit cards, how many loans that we actually are paying, because this whole automatic draft has made it that much easier for us to not have to really face the numbers. So I believe in pen and paper, as you can see. So I have a handout that I'll email to everybody after this, to where you can actually put your information down on there so you can see what's the best option for you. Debt snowball method is one. Then there's also one called the avalanche method. This is where you're paying off the highest interest versus the smallest debt first. If you know your personality, and sometimes you need the small victories to feel like you're actually doing something, the snowball method may be the best for you. So just kind of figure out which one works best for you in the situation, which one gets you out of debt faster. There are a lot of tools out there online as well that you can go in and put that information in to see which one will work best for you. Negotiating with creditors. Sometimes you can call the creditor and they will lower your interest rate. Or if it's a loan and you're going through a hard time, versus not paying it, picking up the phone and calling them and saying, hey, is there any way that we can make some modifications to the loan that we have? And sometimes they'll put it on the back end. Not the best move, but sometimes you just need that premium to do it. And then debt consolidation. This is where you're combining all your debts together into one new loan. I will tell you, sometimes when you call these debt consolidation people, you have to really look at your situation. Again, going through it, I had the option of going through debt consolidation, but I have security clearance. With a security clearance, I cannot not pay my bills. And some of these places will tell you, hey, you can't pay your bills for 3 months. Okay, I don't pay the bills for 3 months or lose my job. It just didn't make sense for my situation. So sometimes you have to take into account what your personal situation is and what's best for you. And then credit counseling. There are a lot of nonprofit. There are a lot of nonprofit organizations. That was weird. That are out there that will help do some free counseling with you. Any questions about this so far? Comments, concerns? None? Okay. Go ahead.
The debt consolidation, not paying your bills for 3 months, when that lower the credit
It
score?
does. It absolutely does. So how they sell it sometimes is that it will lower your credit score temporarily. Matter of fact, I talked to somebody not too long ago just to have an idea of what they're still doing. And he said it's gonna lower your credit score for 3 to 6 months. And then it'll bring it back to where it is right now. And then over another year or so, you'll see the increase. But sometimes you can't afford to wait a year if there's certain things that you're trying to do, like buy a house. So again, that's why you gotta kind of get the details from the people that you're talking to and see what they have to say. And really just figure out if that's the best solution for you. Good. So we talked about debt, but without talking about what credit scores and credit actually is, it's a disservice to anybody that's listening. So what is credit? Your ability to borrow money based on your trustworthiness to repay. Now, I feel some type of way sometimes when we talk about credit because they often look at you as if that credit score is you. And I just told you, it's not, because life can happen. And if we don't prepare ourselves appropriately, financially, when that life happens, it can destroy you financially. And so you have to kind of have things in place, but because I didn't have those things in place, my credit score went to a 547. Part of it was because I had been with this man for 13 plus years, and we built it together when you go your separate ways and close accounts, get a fix your credit. So it's not that I didn't do the right things. It's not that I didn't have some knowledge. I just didn't have it the right way and put myself in a position to where it would fit. So if this is you, if your credit score is 700, 800, or whatever the case may be, don't let anybody make you feel like you're not a good person because you don't have a great credit score. You just got to figure out how to get it up there. Why is credit important? Because they get you the loan, mortgages, cars, student loans, all those things that we just talked about a second ago. But a lot of people don't realize that interest rates are affected by the credit score too. And utilities. Those deposits can keep you. And then, like I told you before, some employment opportunities that happen with it. The credit score is nothing but a financial report card. You can always improve it. It can always go down. If you don't put the effort into it, just like school, your report card is going to show it. There are two that are the most important, the FICO and Advantage, that are most common. But when you start talking about like actually getting loans, most of those places actually use the FICO score. They have different models of the FICO score, the FICO 8, FICO 5, FICO 2. So I would always actually go to my FICO or something that actually has the FICO score. Credit Karma uses Vantage Score. It can give you a general idea, but I wouldn't go off that number alone. And these are the different ranges. Again, I don't like the labels that they put on there sometimes because, like I said, life happens. But that's just how they view you being able to pay back the money. And these are some of the things that affect your credit score. Again, not knowing what that looks like can sometimes hinder us. So the payment history. Paying on time is critical. Missing one payment can drop your credit score by a lot. Now, sometimes you can call the creditor and have them, take it off your credit report. Some are nice, some are, they don't play those games. 30% of how much you owe is, if you have a credit card, try to keep utilization under 30%. If you're doing a large purchase, pay it back as soon as possible for the due date. 15% is liquid credit history, and then new credit, and then the credit mix. So that's basically having the revolving credit cards, which is credit cards, the installments is having those car loans, mortgages. Having that mix does play a part, so try to balance that out at the same time. These are some steps that you can use to build your credit and improve it. Paying your bills on time every time. Some of the simplest ways of doing that is putting it on your calendar. I told you I'm an old school person, I do paper and pen, I still have a journal. I know what my bills are due, but it's just a second habit for me now to write them out every single month. That way, nothing really gets past me. You can put it on your calendar, on your phone, whatever the case may be, that's easier for you. Automatic payments, if you are in a position to where it comes out automatically, sometimes if you don't see it, you don't miss it. So just setting up those automatic payments. Lower your utilization again, lower than less than 30% of your available credit. Avoid closing old accounts. My longest credit card was with my ex-husband. As soon as it got closed, my credit score dropped 100 points. Not that I did anything wrong, it's just that the tie that I had with an individual. So sometimes, luckily we get along, we agreed that we were gonna close all of them. Because we realized how it was impacting both of us. Because now we're going into separate houses and we can't get into the houses that we want because our credit scores have been affected in that aspect. So avoiding closing those old accounts. Try to keep them open if you can. Review your credit report for any errors. I promise you, you want to look at it every year. Every year, because I've had numerous times where I've had stuff that was on there that was not mine. I found out that somebody was using my information, family member, but whatever. So just go in and review it. You can go to annualcreditreport.com and have that taken out on there. Becoming an authorized user on someone else's credit card, but only if they have a good credit score and they understand how to use credit as well. Because getting on a card that doesn't have less than 30% utilization is not going to really help you that much. So take that into consideration. And then secure credit cards. Requires a deposit, can be an effective way to start and rebuild your credit.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you get secured credit cards? Because you know how you see advertisements for things all the time, but I'm one of those people that I don't really trust it not unless I can see it, touch it, and feel it. So where do you get?
You can, a lot of times, get it from your the bank that you're with already.
Okay.
But their Capital One has security cards, Chase has security cards. You just have to actually go and look and see. Yeah, all of those.
And then the minimum is usually what, like
200 is usually the minimum. There may be some that's 5. But you know, the good thing about it is it's still your money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, go ahead.
Can I
Yeah, go ahead.
John got 0% for everything what's called, and they don't charge you interest if you don't pay it back on time. That's one of the best ones out there.
Okay.
And self-lender is another one. They have the loan, but they also have it to where they have a credit card as well. Great question. Any more questions? Y'all still with me? So, he just brought up a very good point about trying not charging interest. It's not really the credit card that's the problem. It's the interest that we pay on that credit card. So let's just talk about the cost of borrowing something.
Before you go in there,
Yes.
since you actually touched on it, can we talk about the interest from a prepaid and why it's actually bad unless you find something like that's very, very low interest?
I'll let you take that one. Go ahead.
Prepaid, what's that? Well, prepaid is like a credit card.
Mhm.
Well, you load your money on it and they extend your credit for that in order to increase your credit limit, your credit score. Basically, so basically, like she was saying, holding credit. Okay, and then of course you get that you put your credit on it, but then they grade you on how quickly you pay it back when you use it. So you have to use it, number one, but then you have to pay it back, or they charge you interest on your own money.
On your own money.
Right, and then of course it take you forever, if
Pay
you
it
slowly
off.
pay it back, it take, no, not to pay it off, to actually get that prepaid
The
account
amount.
turned over into a real, actual credit account.
This is the
Versus,
thing.
versus like Chime, versus like Chime, and that's why I mentioned that one. Chime is one of the better prepaid accounts that I've found so far, because Chime, whatever you put on there is your credit limit. Whatever you spend is what you spent. They don't make you hold a definite amount or anything. You just put on there what you want. And so right now I got $10 on my Chime credit, but it shows like I got my credit is full of Chime.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it always reports that I got 100% on my time. So if I put $1,000 on there, I got $1,000 credit limit. If I put $5, I got a $5.
Anybody else has some real life experiences,
No.
like,
Versus-
share? I
versus-
told you, I'm a very interactive person, so,
Versus Discover, I did one with Discover because I was doing this debt management coming out, trying to put myself out of it. I did a Discover first,
Yep.
and I started with I think like $1,500. Okay, then I pay it off, and I spend it, pay it off, spend it, pay it off, spend it, pay it off. Like you said, don't ever go above 30%. But with that one time that something come up and you can't pay it right then on time, first your credit take a hit, and then of course you get a charge.
I thought
For
you
not
were
paying your money back on time.
so you do get 30 days. However, even with 30 days, you're still, the interest is usually still
Right, it
going on.
includes for that whole time,
So-
30 days. And that's why they want you to hold it for 30 days.
You don't necessarily want to wait 30 days if you have to, because you don't want to keep paying the interest on it. But if you know what that billing date is, and you do it a certain time before that, that makes it better for your credit score as well. I've learned that I will charge something just so I can still have the utilization of the card, because that's the other thing, because they want your money. If you don't use it, they'll close the cards. So you still have to use it to a certain extent. And so now, like I used to go buy gas, but I'll pay it off before it's due again, just so I can show that I'm still using it, they don't close it, and I'm still under that 30% utilization rate. So those little things can still help you with your credit score and show that you have the credit trustworthiness that they are looking for, but just don't go beyond that and not pay it on time. Okay. So the definition of interest is the cost of borrowing money or the return on lending money. And sometimes we look at something and see the APR and we don't really realize what that means. We'll see a number and think that, oh, that's it. It's so much more than that. We're gonna go on that with this money mess. But there are two different types of interest. It's the fixed rate and the variable rate. And I don't know if anybody here bought a house like in, was it 2007, 2008, when they had the adjustable mortgage rates and the balloon payments that happened. You remember?
I didn't find, but I know a lot of people.
Yeah, people lost their houses because the banks were giving them rates that were great year one, maybe year two. But when it was time for the adjustable rate to kick in and their payments doubled and tripled, and they based it off of income, sir?
They were also allowing for no asset-based lending, stated income, those sorts of things. So you could literally say what your income was, get more house than you really afford,
Yep.
and then once you got into the reality of
It's too late.
it, they move.
Yeah, and I lived in Vegas at the time. And Vegas, the whole housing industry got turned upside down. Now, the good thing is if you were an investor, you were able to come in afterwards. But a lot of people that it affected look like you and I, because we didn't understand sometimes the wording. Now, it wasn't just us, I don't want to get y'all wrong. It wasn't just us. But the predatory lending that happened, the subprime lending that happened as well, was horrible. Which is why they put some parameters in now when it comes to adjustable interest rates. But if you get a fixed rate, get that. But still look at how much that fixed rate is. Because paying 35% interest on something, you will never pay that off, especially doing bare minimum. Any questions about that? Good. So, the blood and mist. y'all have one in front of you?
We do.
Okay, let me get that. It should be up under there, you need one too?
Yeah.
Oh, we got one.
I use this sheet because sometimes it's easier to explain. Does everybody have one? It's gonna be on the bottom. It should be. I'm just lied to you. I did.
Can I have another one of those? I need. Thank you. Right on there.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I also want to make an announcement. You can also go ahead and get some refreshments if you want.
Yeah, if y'all need to get up in the middle of this, I'm okay. I'm trying to figure out what I can do with y'all.
No, sir. They're right here.
That's it? I think, so y'all are
Yeah,
good.
we got one.
Thank you so much. Can you still need one?
Yeah.
Man, so, when I was trying to get a house, I didn't know, and so I went to Credit Karma, I was thinking, I'm like, man, my score is good, went in there, realized my score is 100 points different.
Yeah,
than
that's
what-
usually about, it's usually about that amount too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so embarrassed.
But that's, again, they don't tell you that, what model they're using, so if there is ever a time that you're getting ready to go through that process, so you don't get the inquiry first, always reach out to the lender and ask them what model they're using. But again, most of them are using the FICO, FICO 8, FICO 5, what you want to use. Everybody got a pen too? No, you didn't get one, I'm sorry.
No, different. No, different.
That's what we're gonna do now, though. But do you need another
I
one?
got it.
Yeah, we'll take another one.
Okay.
You can write on here.
Y'all can have your own grant to
Yeah,
share.
that's why I said I'm right on there.
I made it enough for everybody. Mr. Charles is gonna give you another practical about it as well. But I need 3 volunteers. You don't have to know the extras, just kind of just staying here so we can do visuals. Anybody? Come on, sir. What's your name? Jerome. Thank you, Jerome. You're just standing here, that's it. But I just need people to see it, that's all. Come on, Ms. Valerie. Okay. Oh, sorry. You're all right. Oh, you need me to move down? Yep, I just need y'all right there. Okay. Come on, center so he can see it as well. So, we talked about interest, right? And I told you the bad side of it and how it can cost you. But there is a good side of interest. You just have to be on the right side of it. And again, if you understand perspective and terminology, you can make the informed decision of what side you want to be on. Okay? So the rule of 72, what is the rule of 72? It is a simple formula to estimate how long it takes for your money to double with compound interest. So the formula is 72% divided by interest rate equals the years it takes to double your money. Why does that matter? Well, it helps you make smarter investment choices. And it shows the power of compound interest. Compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. And if you understand it, you will truly value it and you'll find ways to make it work for you. I'm gonna give y'all so y'all can still fill it out and pass it over now. Got one more for you. So y'all can turn around as we go through this. But I'm gonna let Mr. Jerome be the bank. Okay? What's your name again? Keon. Keon is gonna be Felicia Varda, okay? And then Ms. Valerie is gonna be Linda Liberty, okay? So, as a part of this, I'm gonna give you some advantages with this worksheet. Some of these things, y'all can step behind it, that way you can, you wanna step behind, tape, that way you can still write. Some of the advantages that I'm gonna give you is at the bottom of the sheet. I think it's a handful of us in here that are 29 and under, but most of us are over 29, so we already don't really have this advantage, but I want you to just understand how this works. Sometimes doing stuff as soon as possible makes a huge difference. So, everybody in here is 29 today, thank you, y'all. I'm also gonna give you the advantage of having $10,000. Most people don't have $10,000, we just talked about that at the beginning of the facts, that most people don't have an extra $1,000. So, this is another advantage I'm giving everybody's $10,000. And I'm gonna give a high rate of return. Because the average that the banks are giving, I don't know if y'all can see that or not. Mr. Bank, tell me what their rate says for standard pricing.
Standard pricing, for the account balance less than 2,500, your rate is 0.01%, and your annual percentage yield rate is 0.01%. For 25 and over, it's 0.01% rate, and annual percentage yield rate of 0.01% as well.
So it don't matter how much money you make, that's how much you're gonna get on this one.
Nothing.
I like how they broke it down, it makes a difference. Makes you feel better about what you're, okay. But I'm gonna give everybody a high interest rate, okay? So, on your worksheet, I call this the banker's secret. We're gonna use the rule of 72, okay? 72 is the next line, divided by the interest rate equals the time it takes to double your money. So we just established this is 0.01%, right? For this first one, I'm gonna give you 4%. For Felicia Pardo. So I think Ms. Valerie with Felicia. I'm Linda. Okay, Felicia. 4%. Yes. You said about Felicia. She was mad in a minute. So we're doing this based off of double. Your money doubles every 18 years. So, Felicia, I gave you 29, right? And $2,000. So the next amount, put 10,000 over there. So that's 29 and 10,000 that first point. Now, for Felicia, the next age that she's gonna be to double that amount is 47. Put $20,000 in there. Because it's taking 18 years. 29 plus 18 is 47. She's made $20,000 or $10,000 extra in 18 years at a 4%. So we add 18 plus 47, what does that give us? 65. And double 20,000 is what? 40,000. So at the age of 65, she's only made $40,000. Same time, 65 is retirement age. Well, it used to be. Used to be. So if the average income right now while you're working is 60,000, when she's not working, and we're talking 36 years later, cost of living's gone up, taxes have gone up, inflation is up. Do you think she can survive on $40,000 if she can't survive on the 60 right now? Okay. So that's the first one, 4%. Jerome, you look concerned.
Cause she only made 30,000. She ain't make 40. She made 30.
Right, you're absolutely right.
Right. So how you say can she survive over 40?
But she still has the 10. She didn't lose the 10.
She ain't make nothing off the 10 though.
She made 30.
Because they always had the 10.
It's still hers. She didn't lose. Well, and that's a lie because inflation ate it up anyway. But we're gonna move on to Ms. Linda. Okay. So Ms. Linda Liberty, we're gonna give her a little bit more money, a little bit more percentage, 6%. So at 6%, 72 divided by 6 is what? I'm gonna help y'all out, just give me a minute, 12. Every 12 years. Okay? So she's still 29, she still has $10,000 in that next block. So it's 10,000 here. So every 12 years, 29 plus 12 is 41. I'm gonna do the math for y'all. But now we're doubling it to 20,000 again. So if we add 41 plus 12, that gives us 53. We're gonna double the money again, that's 40,000. 53 plus 12, 65, that's 80,000. So she's made some more money, but again, at 65, same issue that Felicia had, taxes, income has gone up, like inflation. She has $80,000, but can she survive off of that? Probably not. Now, Mr. Bank over here, Jerome, he made all the money.
And he's not late.
That part. None.
He's made all the money, right? So at 12% is what we're gonna give him. Because if you think about it, if they're giving you 0.01%, you gotta know that they're making more off of your money than you are. That's reality. The banks make more money off of your money than you ever will. Okay? How that happen? Because I don't even have it in my hand. Ah!
Alexa. That's Alexa.
Let's see. We ain't there yet. I know. There we go. Okay. So, Mr. Jerome, the bank has 12%. His money doubles every 6 years. Now, he's still gonna have the same advantage of the $29 and $10,000. So 29 plus 6, 35, 20,000. 35 plus 6, 41, equals 40,000. 6 added to that is 47. He's at 80,000. Now I want y'all to stop right there before I move on. At the age of 47, a person that's earning 12%, i.e. the bank right now, but this could be in any situation, has already made the same amount of money somebody at the age of 65. And poor little Felicia over here, she ain't never got that far. So do you see how understanding how the interest rate can work for you if you're on the right side of it and understand? But we're gonna keep on going because we still need to get to 65 to make it an even playing field. Okay? So 47 plus 6, 53. We double that amount, he's at $160,000. 59 is the next one. When you double that, 320,000. The age of 65, $640,000. Now, at the bottom of your page, you see where it says 65 for Felicia is 40,000. 65 for the bank, 640,000. That's a $600,000 difference. Now ask yourself, what more could you have done with yourself and your family and your generational wealth if you had $600,000 working for you versus the bank? Okay? So in summary, at the bottom, leaving your money in the bank is a $600,000 mistake. By loaning your money 10 times, the bank earns $600,000 more than you. So the goal is to become the bank. Now, do y'all know that there are tools that are out there to where you can become your own bank?
Welcome to.
Tell us. Insurance is one of them. Insurance, UILs, where you can borrow against your own policy. But those are things that they don't tell us, teach us, UILs. Those are things that they don't teach us. I have been a part of an organization where my mentor is a multi-million-dollar person. And what he told us was that there are conversations that are being had, but only being had with individuals who make $250,000 or more. If you don't fall into, you would never hear those conversations. So that's why it's important to understand the terminology and perspective when it's time to deal with our own finances. Cool? Y'all got any questions? Y'all understand the rules? Y'all like it? Yes. Thank you. But you're going to get a reinforcement on in a minute. Because it, like, really, it's a lot of stuff that we're going to just talk about today, but this is one of the most important things, so you do know how your money is working and how keeping your money in the bank, because everybody always talks about save. Put your money in savings. How? How is that going to make you wealthy with 0.01%? It's not. Let me tell you, you don't have to worry about it. It won't. But there are different avenues out there that earn double-digit returns. There are investment tools that earn 10, 12%. And maybe we can do a Zoom at a different time, or maybe Mr. Charles or go over as well, of going and showing how to find those different things. It's out there. It's just not communicated to us. Okay? I just told you, like, going into investment accounts, Vanguard and all those, they have them on there, ETFs, there's a day out there. So that's the Rule 72. We call it the bank a secret because that's how they make their money. And the bank is going to always make money off of you. When you're paying those interest rates that we just talked about, the flooding nuts, that's how it comes from. You know what makes me mad, not for real mad, not my acronym? They make so much money off of your money. You'll go into the bank to ask for a loan, they'll tell you no, it is your money. If you think about it, it's your money that they're lending out. But they'll tell you no, you can't get another loan because honestly, they've already loaned it out 10 times to somebody else. So that's just my skill. Y'all keep my money, make more off of it, and then want to tell me y'all can't get more off. Okay, cool. We just changed the game on. So that is the majority of everything I want to cover. I've always been told to not bring up problems without bringing up solutions. The awareness part is one thing. I also have solutions. I am a part of a company called Freedom Path as well. I partner with them because it's great to get them in front of a classroom or a seminar or Zoom and tell people the information, but I also need to be able to provide you the tools to do it. One of the things that we do is provide the tool that you need to achieve that financial freedom. So we deal with credit restoration. We also have a path called Wealth Path and Life Path. So, as a part of this, for anybody that does need credit restoration, we offer it. We offer it to where it does the monitoring as well. We have DIY to where you can pay somebody to do your credit. I've done it. But not knowing what they did, how they did it, and if it was legal, which I found at one point in time somebody that I was using was not doing things legally, can also hurt you. People can disagree with if they want to. This is my personal perspective. That CPN stuff will get you in trouble. And that's what she was doing, was using CPNs to try to get different trade lines and everything else. And I was like, ma'am, I'm not going to jail. I'm not going to jail. I'm not built for it. So Doing it yourself, we have an AI tool that will go read your credit report and help you come up with the best solutions for it to send it to the credit bureaus. We also have access to credit attorneys. I would tell you, prior to partnering up with them, I told you that my credit score was in the 500s when I first got divorced. And I paid people to do it. That daggone TransUnion, boy, they was giving me hell. I had everybody else that was able to get it off of Equifax, to get it off of Experian, but TransUnion was not happening. And it took me to partner with them to finally get it off. And because they did get it off, it went up 44 points immediately. It was it was 3 weeks before they received it to where it was removed. So don't think that just because it didn't work in the past and you've done credit repair before if you need it, that there aren't still solutions out there that can still help. Don't know if there's any renters here, but actually having your rent reported on your credit report will also boost your credit score.
Oh, so that's not automatic report?
No. Now, miss it. Miss it, and they'll put it on the eviction and everything else. Absolutely. Yeah, they don't automatically report your rent, especially if it's to a private landlord. It doesn't report it automatically. So we have that as an option. We also have estate planning, which comes with the wills, trust, power of attorneys, because it does not do any good to have the assets and not protect them. And again, people may disagree with me on this one, so this is a Kim statement, this is nobody else's. A will alone will get you in a probate, and that's about it. If you don't protect your stuff with the trust,
But that estate planning is expensive, isn't it?
not a part of, it's not a part of this.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you're, it can be,
Okay.
it can be.
Okay.
But we know that because it is expensive, but it's also important. We have it as a part of our platform. Personal loans, so you can use our platform to go and apply for a personal loan. I know I just got to talk about credit and understanding it and how loans can or cannot be, but sometimes if you are in a situation, you need it. And so we have that as an option as well. And then the financial planning, we have a series of 70 tools that you can use to do the calculators, to talk about the interest rate, to understand how much it's costing and everything. So those are a part of our platform. And then we also have a debt tracker on there as well. I use it, but I tell you, that pen and paper, I use it every day. It's just easier for me to make sure that I'm keeping track of everything, but we have that as a part of our platform as well. Yeah.
What's the company?
Freedom Path. As a part of our life path, we still want you to live. Like I told you, it's not about just surviving anymore. We want people to actually enjoy their life, but do it smartly. So budgeting is still a part of financial freedom and your financial journey. So we have local savings, identity theft. I told you I was a victim of identity theft. I found out people were using my information. But then, let me tell you a story. Found out when I was growing up, my mama was using my name for the electricity bill. And didn't pay it. Found out when I was in the military and couldn't get moved from Lackland to Warner Robins Air Force Base. And couldn't get the doggone phone in my name because I had a utility bill from when I was a kid that I didn't even know about. So, identity theft is real, even if it's in your family. So you want to make sure that you're protecting that aspect as well. We have a travel planning to where you can go in and get discounts on travel as well. So as a part of all those, wrong way. So all of these come together in one. That is normally $1,500 value, but it's not that much, if I can play it. It says sign up today, but because of the organization and Ken, the $189 is a one-time fee, but I have a discount code for that will say lock on it to where it's only going to be half of that to get started. Then it's $99 a month. There is no obligation to stay with it, but we found that people who that keep using it for the various reasons, they enjoy it. It has changed my life. It has changed my son's life as well because he's been using some of the services too. But you can cancel anytime at that point. So that is all that I have. Does anybody have any questions for me? Anybody?
Straight off the block, straight off the block. Straight off the block, straight off the block. Straight off the block, straight off the block.